This is the Char Murat, or as most people are going to call it, the Char Murat. It is a brand new Tier 9 French premium medium tank with a free shell autoloader. In this video, I'm going to go through everything you need to know about the Char Murat so that you have all the information if you want to go and get yourself one, or even just how to deal with it. Now, the first thing that I want to do is talk about how to actually obtain the Char Murat Tat-Tat. And that is that there is going to be a special Battle Pass chapter in collaboration with the Peaky Blinders. Now, if you haven't watched the Peaky Blinders, I do highly recommend the TV show. It is very, very good. But starting from March the 20th through to March the 31st, there will be this special Battle Pass chapter with 40 stages, and if you purchase the improved Battle Pass, which is going to cost you 3,500 gold, you'll be able to get the Char. And of course, there are other items that are up for grabs along the way as well. These are the base rewards. As you can see here, you'll get some bounty equipment, some bonds, and the improved rewards are as follows as well. So now that you're aware of how to get the vehicle, it's now time to deep dive into the stats. Now, the Char Murat has 1,170 clip potential with a 5-second unload time. 3 shells in the clip, which means that it is a 2.5-second intra-clip reload. Now, this then means that it does have 390 alpha. However, you only have 248 standard pen, which definitely can feel lackluster. When you move around the map, you find someone that's heavily armored, you then think, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. And compare it to other tanks such as like the Char 4, which has 264 pen. Yeah, this definitely does feel pretty bad. You do have 300 heat to make up for that. And again, though, when you actually meet heavily armored targets, even this 300 pen sometimes just doesn't cut it. And as crazy as that sounds, that is the truth. But one of the issues for me with the gun on this vehicle is the bloom. It has 0.23 moving and 0.23 tank traverse, with the turret traverse being very, very good at 0.08. Now, if you're used to the Char 4, which has 0.21 moving, 0.21 tank traverse, and then 0.18 turret traverse, this will probably feel really nice. But this is not nice in comparison to other vehicles, such as like a UDES 03 Alt 3, which has 0.16, 0.16, and then 0.06. This is very, very good gun handling. This isn't. Combine that with an aim time of nearly 2.6 seconds, yeah, once it blooms out, it takes a while to come back down afterwards. And you will be blooming it out a lot because this is a medium tank, remember. You're going to be moving around the map a lot to try and get into different locations. So a stab is 100% necessary to keep this down. It does have a 105mm caliber gun, which means that you can overmatch 30mm plates. And it also has an ammo capacity of 60, which means that you can take a variety of different ammo types. Also, the shell cost isn't that much. However, we'll speak about the profitability a bit later on. While speaking about the gun, I'm also going to include the gun depression. This is 12 degrees without a siege mode. So this is actually very, very nice to use. However, the 12 degrees is only around the front and the sides. Once you hit the rear, you then don't really have any gun depression at all anymore, only 5 degrees. The gun elevation is only 15 degrees, so you may run into some issues. However, it's not that bad. Most of the time, what you need to look up at, you'll be able to. Moving on to mobility, and this is where it gets strange. This might be the slowest fast tank I've ever seen. It says 60, it reads 60 on effective and medium, but it takes forever to get there. I genuinely feel older when I reach my top speed in this tank. It has nearly 19 power to weight as well, which means that it's not slow, so I don't know what is going on to make it this slow to reach the effective top speed. I'm guessing the terrain resistances, but even then, it doesn't seem that bad. The soft is awful, but medium and hard, that's not awful. Even with Brothers in Arms off-road driving and then you use food, it's still slow. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Not only is the top speed slow, the actual nature of turning the vehicle is also a bit sluggish. It just feels very sluggish. And it doesn't help that it is a big tank as well. You might have 1,650 hit points and you're going to need all of them, because when we look at this thing, you'll see that, yeah, it's pretty easy to pen this tank. But a few of you might be saying, well, there's a few ricochet angles here. Yeah, that's a shot trap at the front. And for those of you that don't know what a shot trap is, let me explain. You see, it says ricochet here, but then if you go here, you might notice it says ricochet, then 100% chance. That is because it will ricochet off your hull into your turret and pen you. So yeah, this whole upper front plate, all of this is just basically an auto shot trap into your turret armor. And as you can see, even in the gun manlet, 150mm thick, there are spots along the side here that you could ricochet off and then bounce, yes. But there's also random spots along the turret mantlet here where you actually have like 300 effective. So there are random spots that you could bounce, but for the vast majority of time, you are not bouncing anything in this tank. Not to mention, look at the size of it. It's not exactly hard to miss. And all of this is also an overmatch because this is 30mm thick. So yes, anything greater than a 90 caliber gun, if you're trying to side scrape for some reason, they're just going to go and pen you an overmatch. And also just quickly, HE ability, the rear is 30mm, the side 40. There you go. You weigh 45 tons, you have a camo rating of 13.5%, which is not bad, but not absolutely great either. If again, go and look at the UDES and the Char 4, the camo rating of the Char 4 being 16 and the UDES being 17, this definitely is falling behind and is a massive target as well. You also have 390 meters view range, which is better than the Char 4, but the same as the UDES 0303. So good enough view range. You don't need coated optics if you're running food and vents. Now, when speaking about equipment on this vehicle, I have been using vents and stab as 100% go-to, and then this last one, I genuinely just think it's up to personal preference. You could go ahead and pick optics. You could go ahead and pick a turbo. You could go ahead and pick IAU. You could even go ahead and pick hardening if you really wanted to. You could even go ahead and pick low noise. It's really down to you as a player for which of this third equipment choice you should pick. I do feel that the vents and the stab are completely mandatory for this style of tank, especially considering about that view range. If you're going to be using food, 100% vents. If not, then maybe optics is here instead to give you that view range. In fact, if you weren't going to be using food and you were going to be using optics, I would just keep the vents and just add the optics in, and that would be your three choices of equipment. But for everyone else that is using food, yeah, this third slot is really just down to you. For me personally, I'm going to be running a turbo. However, I have actually been running IRM for a lot of them, just to try and make it less sluggish when it's turning. But in the end of the day, I kind of found that turbo just kind of helped me out more overall. But it's really just down to how I feel for any given day, because I could happily go and say, yeah, you know what, I don't really feel the turbo anymore. It's time to go and pick IRM, or it's time to go and pick low noise, or even IAU. I'm joking, I'm never using IAU. But for this video, I will be using turbo. Now, for the secondary loadout, it is obviously going to be a scouting setup with CVS. Now, obviously, not everybody is going to have the secondary equipment slot available. You get this once you get all the field mods. But once you do, make sure you pick scouting, and then you can put it in the correct slot. The other one's obviously optics, and then for the last one, we're going to choose stab, because, yeah, there's no way I want to play this vehicle without stab. And they are my two setups. Very basic, but I think that for most people, it will work. For the ammo loadout, we are going for that 50-50 setup. I'm not going to bother with any HE. I really don't see the point of having 53 pen. I might as well just use this and just be happy with it. This offers too much RNG in regards to I need to really make sure I hit the shots. Because 53 pen, if you low roll the pen, half the time you then just don't do the damage. So I just forgo any of the HE, stay with the heat and the APCR, and this is a pretty good loadout. 30-30, more than enough shells to deal damage. Now, for the crew skills, we do have Brothers in Arms, Repairs, and Concealment. The reason why we have Concealment is because it is a more kind of try and be a sneaky tank and get around the map rather than a brawling vehicle. You do actually go ahead and get 30% Concealment if you do have all of the perk trained, so it isn't exactly bad Concealment. It's not super good either, but for a medium tank that you can just hide in some bushes then go back behind the bushes, it's more than good enough. We then obviously have recon and emergency with coordination to get that aim time down as much as we can. Once we spot someone, the aim time's going down quite a bit. Now, for the bonus perks on the commander, it is the radio operator. We pick situational awareness and firefighting, and then for me, I'm going to pick signal interception. Now, the reason why I use signal interception is because I just like it. I get notified that I've been spotted nearly a second earlier, and in comparison to communications expert, I would need to go and get my HP in assistance before this activates, whereas this is always activated. Yes, sure, a lot of the time you can get this, and if you want to pick this, then pick it. But I think for a lot of the time, this is actually very beneficial, especially in this vehicle considering how big you are. For the gunners, we obviously have the top 3 because we're going for that on every single one, and we need it on every single one to get the maximum efficiency bonus. We then have Deadeye, Quick Aiming, and Armorer. Deadeye, because I love Deadeye. Quick Aiming, because we need the aim time. And Armorer, because it reduces the RNG. You'll notice that I'm not using Snapshot. You don't need it. You have 0.08 dispersion for the gun, for the turret traverse, which is what the Snapshot will increase. There's no need to increase this. That is already very, very good, especially considering we're using stab on this tank. There's really no need to take this. For the gunner's bonus perks, this is the loader. Now we're going to obviously pick safe stowage, we pick intuition, and ammo tuning. Safe stowage is just a mandatory one that I always take. It just helps out with the ammo rack, even if it doesn't have an ammo rack problem. I like taking it just to make sure. Intuition, obviously, especially on these types of tanks where they are autoloaders, where you can fully get the new clip in within like 5 seconds. You can just quickly tap the 2 key or the 1 key and just switch the shells out, or even into HE if you so choose. Very, very nice perk to have. And then ammo tuning, again, kind of reducing the RNG as best as we can. And then for the driver, we obviously have the top 3. We then have the clutch braking perk, which will hopefully help us out with it feeling a bit less sluggish. It doesn't completely, but it is a little bit nicer to have. Off-road driving, obviously we need that for the soft terrain and also just to help us out as well. And then controlled impact. The reason why we're using controlled impact is that this thing actually weighs nearly 50 tons. As you can see, it weighs 45 tons with a 48-ton load limit. And combined with controlled impact, when you are playing against other medium tanks, if they think, for example, oh, it doesn't have a lot of armor, therefore it must not weigh that much, and they try to ram you, it's always a pleasant surprise when they take a lot of damage off of you. Now, you might have noticed that I'm not using Smooth Ride, and that is because I just don't really rate it very highly anymore. I spoke about this in the Object 265T review, and this only improves it by roughly 0.01 for the moving dispersion. Now, that is not really enough to be noticeable for me in-game, and I'd rather take something else, especially if I'm just going to be using stab. I don't really see the point of taking it. So I'm kind of phasing this out of my perk picks, and yeah, sure, if you want to use it, then go for it. But at the moment, I'm not using it, and I haven't really noticed much of a difference. Now, for the field mods on this vehicle, we go for the left, right, right. This 5th one here is kind of personal preference. If you don't care about the camo too much, then you can pick the left-hand side. It will give you some better repair time for your suspension and also a little bit more top reverse speed at the detriment to the camo. But if you leave it on the right-hand side, you get up to 33%, which is very, very nice. And then for the last one on number 7, the right-hand side is always the better option for autoloaders. You get better aim time and also reducing the aim circle size after firing. So that intro clip, hopefully you're fully aimed when the next shell comes. Okay, so we are now going to be doing some live gameplay, and this is where we will then get to see what the tank truly is like. Now, in my experience of playing this vehicle, I don't hate the vehicle, but I don't exactly love the vehicle either. And for me personally, it's one of those tanks that I don't think I would play that much. And that's not to say that the tank is bad, as can I please have a teammate that doesn't do that? No. Okay. There we go. Okay, finally. There we go. That's not to say that the tank is bad. It's just, this is not really my playstyle of tank. And I don't really know what playstyle this really goes into. It's a little bit of an all-rounder regarding the camo. But the gun should be like an ambush style of tank. But it's so big that when you try and just hide it anywhere, it's almost impossible. Right? So it's like an identity crisis with this vehicle. I just don't really know how to play it properly. And I don't really think that many people will be able to, considering that lots of people like the Barrasque, and I think that if you try and play it like a Barrasque, it's just not going to work. And that's why I think that most people that get this tank will probably end up doing quite badly in it, because they'll do a clip and then probably just end up dying, just purely because if you do try and be an ambush, you're going to get shot by everybody when you're peeking, and then you have no health left. I do, however, need to try and go into the city, because this is just not working over here. We don't have any shots at all. And we are actually pushing the city. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing, I think we're going to have to find out in a little bit. We are going to go into heat, though, for the Peugeot 66 and the heavies, because, yes, 248 APCR, not it. Definitely not it. I am actually testing out using server reticle right now, just to see whether or not it's more accurate. It's obviously very, very jittery, but there's been a lot of shots recently that I just felt haven't been registered correctly on the server. So I'm just testing it out to see if I want to use it or not. I'd love to... Ah, that's annoying. Okay, thank you, gun. Oh, at least we get one in. If we can get one more in, and then we can back off and then reload, that'd be great. This guy is somewhat peeking. Okay, that's just a bad shot. Congratulations, Max. Great aim. And now we go for a reload for 30 seconds. Yeah, sometimes this gun can troll you. I mean, the last shot there was just really bad aim, but... yeah, there's been some shots that recently... I've been like, you know, whipping around the reticle and then it's just not gone anywhere close. Like the server's just been really lagging behind. And it's not the fault of my ping or anything like that. It's just literally the fault of the server is just slow in comparison to keeping up with what is going on sometimes. I'm actually going to cross this. There shouldn't be anyone on there, so we should... I actually thought that was open because, well, the last time that I've been over this side on the map it's been an onslaught and stuff, so... what hasn't been spotted yet? I mean, TL7 I don't really need heat for, but we're just going to keep it because why not? There is a 752 as well to my left, but... What is the TL7 doing? Maybe we can get a shot on this guy. One in. Maybe another one. Excellent. We won't get the last one in, but we will get this one into this guy, and then we can try and run away. We're going to take another one from the TL7, or one more from the TL7. There we go. And we're now at 2k damage. I'll continue with the heat round because we've got a few lats up here. So, yeah, heat is going to be the correct choice against them. We do have 14 seconds remaining. I think I need to push across, get out of the way of that, and then start clipping this guy. If I can. And then maybe even punish this standard B. Okay, now that he's dealt with, we have this, which I'm hoping this guy can maybe come and help me in a second. Just hide behind this. We know that a lat is up there, and he could come around to try and kill me, but we're just going to hide behind this, get our lat into the game. And we do have 2 shells ready. We're going to do our 2 shells worth. 1, 2, and now we're out for 30 seconds. I need to say that we're reloading. This lat needs to try and run away. I don't really know why he pushed in. All he had to do was just go out wide or something like that to assist me. He didn't really have to do much more than that. Now have 12 seconds remaining. CS59 missed. I didn't actually realise the WT was still alive. I could have died easily there then. That was a bit of a misplay by me. I didn't realise that. Okay, we're going to go to APCR for the WT, if he's coming around. I am very worried about the WT. The CS59 should kill that guy without any issues. Okay, now that he's dealt with, we can then push up. Hide behind this house for our best option of survival. And then just peek out. And we kind of need Leo to go in first. Okay, the Leo will kill that. Hello. And then finish you off. Lovely. Okay, 3.9k. Not too bad. Wasn't perfectly played, but yeah, it's okay. But I mean, I think that does demonstrate that it can be played as an ambush tank. But it also shows you that it is very, very big. Like, you try and peek anything, they are going to shoot you. They're going to hit and they're going to pen. No matter what you do. And you have to try and hide and control your engagements with what's going on. We will play one more and we will apply this, of course. But yeah, 3.9k, nearly 4k. We get a little bit of assistance as well. We took home 67k, but we'd done a mission for 40k. So we actually only earned like 20k. Yeah. It's a tier 9 premium, by the way. Okay, we're now on Ensk. Now, this is, again, one of those maps that you need to be a bit careful with. Because if you over push, you die very, very quickly. And I think that a lot of the time in this style of tank, I sometimes do that. And we then end up with less damage than I would or should have. So we're just going to wait. And we're just going to let it reload. We're going to then see what is going on the map before we go and make a decision of where we're going to be trying to push and help out. I think that's the best option. It is a tier 10 game, which we need to be careful of. So we do have that. But, okay, even 90. They're taking a lot of damage for that. Okay. This is very, very good. One into you, and he is now dead. One into the Char, and then one more in. Excellent. Gun is behaving. Lovely. That is what we'd love to see. Most of the time this gun does behave. It's just when you're moving around and then you quickly try to snap, that's when it starts misbehaving. But the majority of the time, it behaves. Obviously, DPM wise, in these style of games where it's very, very fast, you need to be getting your clip in and then just moving on to the next tank. Just constantly moving. I do want to try and kill this, however. One into you. Two into you. And one into you. And then we back off again. This guy's probably on reload. No, he's not. He's -2 at least. Then have 22 seconds now. So we just wait. He will then die. And this game is already won. And all we need to do now is just push through and finish off the remainder tanks that are there being held up from our heavies. The BZ is actually going to be loaded by the time I go around. And he will pen me. So we'll just wait for him. He's slowly dying anyway. Very slowly. There we go. Don't need to take unnecessary shots, especially when you still have 7 seconds remaining. There's no point. Now we can try and deal with this Lorraine. It looks like he's going to try and run away. I don't know where that shot went. Let's see if we can just get a little bit more. Turtle, I don't know if he's facing this way. Are you facing this way, Mr. Turtle? I mean, you are. Okay, that's a actual problem. I can't pen the turtle, really. Alright, we're going to load heat. We'll reload for heat. Because we need it against the turtle. A bit of a misplay coming in with only 2 shells. So the Progetto's left the turtle isolated now. And in 7 seconds, we're going to go around this corner and kill the turtle. And we're not going to kill the turtle because I suck. He's then just pen... What? Okay. 300 heat is not enough to pen a turtle. Okay, excellent. So how does this bounce exactly? So this is like an 85% chance to pen. But even if I'm at an extreme angle, it's still 70%. Like, look at this. Like, I'd have to be at like this kind of angle. Whereas this is the angle I was at, so I'm not really too sure. This one is completely understandable. I just cannot aim. So at the end of that game, only 2.6k because we played like an absolute bot against a turtle. And what did we take home? 7k. So what are my final thoughts on the Char Murat? This thing is very, very large and easy to hit with no armor at all. It is very, very slow and also sluggish, but at the same time has a fast top speed, and there's not really any indication of why it's so bad as well with the top speed, because terrain distances seem okay. The gun will let you down, but on the whole is okay. The accuracy is good when you're fully aimed. Don't try and even bother shooting when you're not fully aimed, because a lot of the time you're just going to end up missing. There are other tanks in the game that you can get away with that, where you're kind of waiting, and you just fire a little bit early. With this one, it really does bloom quite a bit, so you need to be aware of that. Camo rating is fine, but again, it's a big tank, so trying and hide this thing is a little bit of a nightmare as well. And the last thing, which is the main thing, is a premium vehicle, but it really doesn't earn credits. Like, you would have to be running a credit booster, personal one, and also a clan credit booster to really gain some half decent income out of this vehicle. I understand that it's a tier 9 and it also earns bonds, but this is, well, I mean, you saw from the games, like, that's pathetic income. And I understand that I'm paying full price for consumables. I'm fully aware of that. But that's still only, what, 30k profit from a tier 9 premium. The thing is with the tier 9 premiums, none of them really earn credits. You're kind of sacrificing a portion of your credits to earn some bonds on top of it. And for those of you that don't know, other tier 9 premiums, for example, would have a 100 bond weekly limit, which means that within that week, you can earn up to 100 bonds just by playing the vehicle, and you don't have to do anything else. But that then comes at the cost of less credit income compared to what tier 8s have. And I fully understand why this is in the game, because you don't want to make everybody's tier 8s obsolete overnight just by buffing the income of this. But I do feel like this is not exactly great income for what you're getting. But should you go and spend the gold to get this tank? Well, if you're only going to be spending 3,500 gold, then yes, because that's an insanely good value. You get all the bonuses from the battle pass, and then this tank on top of it as well if you're going to be grinding all 40 levels. However, if you're not going to be spending that much time in water tanks, and you're only be grinding, say, half of that, then maybe not. It really depends on how many stages you're going to end up purchasing at the end to be able to get this tank. I would say if you're going to be spending around about 10 to 12,000 gold in total to get everything, then it's probably worth it. Anything more than that, then it's probably not. And I say in total because you need to realize that when you spend gold, you're not just buying the tank, you're also buying everything else that comes with it as well. So you'll get the crew members, you'll get the bounty equipment, you'll get everything else. So it is a good deal all in all for around about 12,000 gold in my opinion. But obviously money is very, very different for each individual. So yeah, take that for what you will. I don't really think that the tank individually is worth more than like 10,000 gold. So around about £30. But again, you can't just buy the tank. It has to be in the battle pass. So take that into consideration. It's not a great vehicle. It's not a terrible vehicle. And I think that most people are not going to do that well in it. That's what I think at the end of the day. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.